studied a little bit into this, so I, could tell you that what she described is, scripturally sound, meaning that there's, not not any inconsistencies on what she's describing versus what is in, the scriptures, as far as I could tell. Now, with my work schedule and stuff, I haven't been able to dissect everything, like I usually do. So, if anybody out there knows something about this particular author or book or whatever, you can contact me through the, Facebook channel. I believe my email address is on there. You can leave a message on, YouTube or comments or what have you. And then I'd definitely be interested in learning what you thought of the whole process. But yeah, I read that book, listened to the audiobook, and well, it gave me some nightmares. Let me put it that way. It made me, really, think of, things from an eternal perspective. And, long story short, yeah, a lot of things that were going on, came to light that I, should be doing or shouldn't be doing, but, that's, neither here nor there. Um, the next book that I got, is the 23 Minutes in Hell, the 10th anniversary edition. That, has new content, stuff like that. Then I likewise got the audiobook, which I also have the actual book, that looks just like the cover, of this one. So, there's, some of that. This particular, book, I am not a fan of, the audiobook. The audiobook to me just seems like it was too commercialized. It was too, I don't know what I really think about it. I'm not a big fan of it. However, with that being said, the author of this particular book is Bill Wise. He had, according to what he was saying, he had an experience where he spent 23 minutes in hell. One night at 3 a.m. And then, and, oh, by the way, here's the actual, first edition of the book. Then he, experienced, sights, sounds, smells, things like that. However, one thing that with his is, according to what he's saying, he had, an experience where the fact that it was hidden from him that he was, a believer. Now, what that means was that he was not aware that he was a believer for 23 minutes, so he could fully experience what was going on. And it goes on in more detail in the book. The one good benefit that I find in regards to his book is that in the back of it, and it's like in one of the appendixes, he has a scriptural index, which, as I understand it, he's pulled every, scripture dealing with, the whole idea. Now, granted, there's a lot in that index, but I'm certain there may be more scriptures out there that, deal with this subject. It also has quotes in the back of the book from different religious organizations, and, different people, with their stand on, what they think about eternal punishment, things of that sort. So if you're going to do a detailed study, he has scripture references, and then he also has chapter notes at the end of his chapters. So there's additional, information there. Now, the and that's one of the downfalls with um, Mary Baxter. There really isn't a scriptural index, but her scriptural points are placed throughout the chapters and such. So they're definitely these two you know in some ways they complement one another. One very detailed, very thorough. The other one on has scripture references. The index. Additional notes, things like that. But I firmly believe that Bill Wise's audiobook was too commercialized, so I'm not a fan of it. I listened to about 15 minutes of it, and I said, no more. Now, I'm not saying that the audiobook's bad. I'm not saying it's good. It's just for me, I don't care for the commercialized version of it. Whereas Mary Baxter's audiobook was, not commercialized. It didn't have any bells and whistles, all fancy, glittery, sounds, that sort of thing. It was pretty much, straightforward, type thing. And then I managed to get a couple of, movies too. And one of them is called, The Final Exit. It is a brief, 45-minute, um, dramatization of what, judgment, or, what, you know, judgment looks like, before you find out if your name's in the book or what, in the book of life or whatever. Um, Very interesting. Gives you, a unique perspective on, things like that. It has four people that, die, you're ushered into, heaven or whatever, or to the gates, and then, they go through, the judgment, things like that. Definitely, you know, not on the top of my A list, as it were, but it's definitely, if you want to get the conversation going, that is definitely a, you know, way to go. Special effects, things like that, not so much. Like I said, it's a short video. I really don't know much about how or why it was produced. But I definitely liked it. Again, you can order it from the same book company that you can get the other books from. And this one, uh, you know, I remember watching it years ago, and I've been trying to find it. Well, lucky for me, I found it again from the same company. And this particular book or movie actually kind of goes hand in hand with what you know dealing with the afterlife and the paranormal, things like that. This doctor is not convinced that there is an afterlife, things that, that sort. Um, he finds out in a very real way that there is. So I would, definitely, take a peek at some of those. The movies, yeah, they're decent. The books, however, I am, wholeheartedly in favor of reading the actual book versus audio. So, I would definitely, want to look into that. And then, of course, we've got, you know, one of the most important, books that you could probably ever get. Now, I deal, like I said, I like to study, so I've got several, study Bibles. I've got, different books, John Wesley, Charles Spurgeon, Adam Clark. But anyways, that those are, references, that I use from time to time. And there are, in my particular library, I am a fan of, the New King James and the King James. The New King James makes the King James easy to understand, so, I think the New King James is not bad. Now, there's several versions of the King James, meaning you've got a study Bible, you've got, chain references, you've got, stuff like that. Well, so I got, the two that I like excuse me, like I said, the King James and, New King James, the benefit of the, this particular, version is that I know you can't see it, but down at the bottom it has, notes and stuff. It's the Holman Reference Bible, Study Bible. Um, it has notes and stuff in there, that kind of give you a brief overview of, the some interpretation, the historical background, things of that sort. The New King James does the exact same thing, so you can, see the notes and stuff like that. I know you probably can't really see them, you know, on the camera, but, and that's a New King James large print edition. That's, hardcover, Then, obviously, if you like to study while you're out and about, there's a smaller King James version of, this one that's the same thing as, you know. The one thing about those is that even though the versions are slightly different, the study notes are exactly the same. So, from that point, it's not bad. Now, one of my favorite go-tos is, the date, King James version. This guy, Finis Dake, has detailed notes on, the scripture. He, points out each one that's a prophecy, points out one that's promised, things, that sort. And then, he has extensive notes that will explain certain things in Greek, Hebrew, and then if there's, an equivalent in the Old and New Testament, he will list some scripture points where, they match up. So, from that perspective, very detailed. Not that I agree with everything that, Finis Dake, has written, but it is definitely an excellent work. So I would encourage you to investigate, and if that's something that you would want to look into, again, you can order all these books from, the, book distributor, and I'll leave note, links and stuff in the description at a later date, as I, still working on the channel and stuff. There's, so overall, I would recommend getting, 2 or 3 different study Bibles at the very minimum and just start from there. And then, definitely start networking, make contacts and stuff with, especially talk to your, pastor or your, whatnot, because they've got a wealth of information there too. So, with that, I know I said I was going to, touch on a scriptural point, but I'm coming up on like 20 minutes for this one alone. So I'll probably do a scripture point later on tonight, or at some point, we'll see, when. The plan is I'd like to be able to put up, new video at least once a week, but with, certain things happening, I'm not sure what day of week it is or it'll be. So, this is a pre-recorded, video, so obviously I'm not, live streaming from the house or anything of that sort. So your comments and such, I will definitely be reading those, and I will be, responding to those as much as I possibly can. I just ask that you guys give me some time to address your comments, concerns, things of that sort. And then, we will go from that point and see, what happens. If there's anything you guys want to see discussed or talked about, feel free to send an email, leave comments, things of that sort, and, we'll see what we can, work out. I hope that, I've managed to share some information with you guys that you would find, beneficial, and that, and then, hopefully it'll help you out. Now, uh, with that being said, I think that's about all that I've got going on that I know of. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys again